Hey Team Absolution fans, the G era has come to an end, and for that matter, the old era too, but the G era and specifically is finally over. We're getting the reboot of the original, a lot of good stuff. So let's recap our favorite cards, skills, and memories from the G era. Stick around. Like I said, Team Absolution fans, G era has come to an end. Tier, but not tier, because bigger and better things are on the way, I truly believe. But today, you see Nate back there, and you see me up here, and we're going to be talking about our favorite cards, skills. Well, basically, we're going to talk about our favorite cards, our favorite art, and our favorite moments, and then we're going to end it with a little a faux pas, we think, the faux pas of G era. So first things first, I'm going to cover my favorite card in terms of art. Now you're probably thinking, the captain, he's going to pick a Royal Paladin unit, he's going to pick Alfred or Gancelot, or definitely not that mile. He's going to pick all these cool cards. Actually, I'm going to hit you with the curveball. My favorite art comes from good old GEB01, the Cosmic Roar. The OG Gancelot, Grand Gallop, not Gancelot. The OG Grand Gallop. This Grand Gallop is so fresh. I almost bought the full arts when they came out, and I don't even play Cosmic Heroes anymore. This card alone made me want to build the deck purely because of how just sweet the card is. And at the time, the card skill wasn't terrible either. We just never thought GB2s of Vanguards just never really became a thing, really. But like in terms of actually using them to swing them, obviously Vanguard. But what I really do like about this is just his action pose. He's so dynamic. He looks just very powerful, and the art is just so beautiful. And I love this card. So in terms of art, so this is from the beginning of the G era. In terms of skill, I'm gonna go with the last set we saw in the G era minus Bermuda's. The last, main set we saw. We're gonna go with Shiranui Renee, or full name, Evil Eye Vidya Emperor Shiranui Renee. I love Renee. This card is so powerful in so many matchups. If you're playing against Link Joker, it's okay, you'll use their dudes. If you're playing against Great Nature, it's okay, you'll use their dudes. Insert that phrase. You're playing against Conqueror, he's gonna blow up all your dudes, it's okay, you'll use his dudes. There's nothing like making your opponent, especially this with the combo with Shiranui, made this combo so deadly. Making your opponent drop 3 cards in a turn sometimes, and just even some people say you shouldn't go first strike this. I always went first strike this. 2 cards out of his hand is detrimental. And he has to deal with attacks from those. So you're getting 5 attacks maximum. You're getting 3 attacks minimum. And then if you have the right combos, even if he calls triggers, he's losing shield value. There's no real way out of this card punishing a player, because if the player picks triggers, you have both Mistfrog, and you have outs for that too, and he just dropped triggers. This card puts your opponent in such a very poor decision-making process, because you have to pick, do I try to outwit you by calling triggers, or do I try to do I call stuff and just guard the hits or take them? And he can't use auto abilities. That was the last nail in the coffin that made this probably one of my favorite cards. Because at first when I read it, I was like, these auto skills are going to become very annoying. And everyone was like, yeah, this is good. It's a good card. It's a really good card. But this auto skills. And then when we got the full translation and it said auto skills don't activate, that's when this card just became bonkers powerful. It's so good. So those are my 2 favorite cards. And now we see what Nate thinks.
Hey guys, so the G era is gone, and I'm not so sad to see it go, really. In the G era, I had a lot of cards I really liked the art for, but I never really fell in love with one card art. So I'm gonna say my favorite is a Shadow Paladin unit. Of course, I'm Nate. But it's not a unit that saw all that much play, and that's my really, really good friend here, True Revenger Drag Ruler Revenant. And, you know, his skill was very mediocre at the time, but I really thought when he came out in Fighters Collection, he really encapsulated the look that I like in Shadow Paladins. He's a dragon, he's dark, he's purple and blue, like there's nothing to hate about him. So, in terms of skill, my favorite card actually just came out with the Stargate Clan Booster set, Nation Booster, if we want to call it that. And that is Victor Zubat. He is just such an awesome card in his skill. He does everything I want a card to do. He is an awesome on-stride skill, letting a rear guard stand back up. He is an awesome end of turn skill. I get to unflip, I get to countercharge. If I did both, I draw. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Zubat Victor is just such an awesome card in the way he's designed that he's really helped that deck all the way rise to the top tables. So those are my favorite cards for both art and skill, Zubat and Drag Ruler. Now I think we should take some time to think about the memories we've had here in the G era, be them good or not so good. So, Jose?
And we're back! Alright, now we're talking about favorite moments in the G era. So the G era was a really weird, because, you know, first we had, it started off in this real bumpy situation where only it was the OG 3 clans that like saw so much power back in the original series. Oracle Think Tank, Kagero, and Royals, which Oracle Think Tank proceeded to just drop off the face of the earth, not to come back until Battle Sisters for a moment and then fade back into obscurity. Hopefully to come back again. But we saw them kind of fade out, and we didn't know really what to do there. But I played Royals, obviously, as you know, and that deck became. That deck was so powerful in the beginning of G era, in the middle of G era, even up until the end of G era. Royals were just such a dominant force. And most of that went from Vanguard straight into Regale, and then Regally, and then Regally just dominated the field for like a year and a half. Not that it went unquestioned, but it was just such a powerful deck that it kept seeing revision after revision after revision. It was like, okay, we'll give them this, and they're like, all right, we'll incorporate it into blasters. Oh, we'll give them this. Oh, we'll incorporate it into Vanguard. Oh, we'll give them this. It was like, okay, we're gonna bring back Aichi. We're gonna give everyone blasters, and then what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do when they get blasters? Oh, we got blasters? Let's put it in a Vanguard, and we still kept going. And so for me, one of my favorite moments was it was kind of cool to see my favorite clan in the game, Royals. Not that they were ever like, I got into the game during season 2, which Royals was not a very powerful deck. I mean, MLB was still really good. At that time when I started Vanguard, I was a college student, so I didn't have the money to buy MLB at the time. To build it fully, I was at Braxton. I built Alfred Beats. That's a whole story for another time, though. But for me, though, playing Royals that much, I loved it. But playing Vanguard that much really took it out of me to a certain point. Like, I started becoming less interested in what my opponent's decks did because, to a certain extent, it was irrelevant because I strode regularly, I attacked regularly, I passed turn, he did his thing, I went back to my thing. And I was kind of it was unimportant to what he did, so I didn't really. The knowledge of what every deck did became less and less, and I think you can kind of see that if you watch some of the old videos. But until I went back, and I said until near the end, even with blasters, it was still like pow pow pow, Gancelot, or Gancelot, Alfred. Well, not really Alfred, but you see what I'm saying. And it was a lot of one linear line. And granted, it did that line amazingly, and it was powerful, and it run me a lot of tournaments, and it won me a lot of games, and I don't regret it, and I love that deck. If Vanguard ever became top tier again, I'd probably find some kind of way to play it. Even if it was just for tournament play. But because I have a lot of nostalgia for that deck, as well as blasters. I love playing blasters too. But yeah, the biggest moment for me was when I finally put that down and picked up a new clan, and I picked it up from Keith. I think they took it off his hands, and I was like, I really want to learn this, and it made me learn just how far we had come in G era. Like, I finally was like opening up and seeing what all these other decks did, and like Great Nature and Mega Colony and Tachikaze, and like all these decks that before, when I played Vanguard or when I played Blasters, the game was pretty much all decided before we did that. Either I had been crit to death and I lost, or or they had gone into their first combo, I didn't have enough outs to it, I lost, or I had pushed so hard with the grade 2 turn, the grade 3 turn, and the stride turn that I just won the game. But now it's fine to see what the mid game was and the late game was and what we were seeing and how people like the decision making process and I found that dominating was such an interesting mechanic because Vanguard had never had this level of interactivity before. It was just it was my favorite moment in the G era was learning dominate. But there was a lot of great memories along the way. You know, I love Royals. I will always play Royals. I am excited to play Royals again. But playing Dominate is going to be really fun. And I'm looking forward to see how Dominate withstands in premium meta when it might not get support for quite some time. So we'll see how that happens. But let's see what Nate's favorite memory was.
So, the G era had lots of great memories for us here at Team Absolution. But particularly for me, I think my favorite memory was going to the ARG National Championship following the release of the Ren Legend deck. That was just such a fun event overall. But really, my favorite part was Braxton and I had theory crafted. Of course, we were playing Shadows, but what was the backup to Abyss? Did you run Blaster Dart Diablo? No. We said you ran Revenger Drag Ruler, and that was just such a fun experience going to this large-scale tournament and playing a pretty unique deck tech that no one had seen before. And you know, riding grade 3, people thinking, oh, he can't stride. Using a mana, give the Limit Break Enabler, ping you for a damage, get some power, Judge Bow goes off, everything is great. So even though we got to meet a ton of amazing people, we got to play against amazing players, really my best experience is just having that sheer joy of playing a somewhat unique tech in my deck and seeing people react to it, see how some people played around it in new ways that Jose and some of the other guys hadn't thought about before. So really, when I think back on the G era, my fondest memories really do come from that ARG Nats and the people we met and just getting to experience such a large-scale tournament and playing against different people. No offense, Jose.
And lastly, guys, Nate and I want to talk about the mistakes, because the G era wasn't perfect. Far from it, actually.
Really?
Really, when it boils down to the biggest mistake in the G era, and I'm gonna let you say it because I talked about it literally a second ago.
Vanguard Regalia. Such a dumb card!
That card really defined a very bad place for the G era of Vanguard, where the G was essentially taken out. It also gave rise to this concept of, I want to build a deck that completely denies players the one mechanic that was introduced in the G era, which is Generation Break, as well as striding as a mechanic.
It was like what might have happened had deleters come out at beginning of Legion and been able to say, no, you just cannot Legion.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point.
Also took 2 national championships. That's also some garbage.
It took 2 ARG national champs. Yeah, it did. And the deck is incredibly powerful, incredibly potent.
Dangerous.
It didn't let your opponent stride. It gave birth to cards like Twitter Run and Seabreeze, without Regalia's presence in the game, I question whether those cards would have existed. And if they had, I don't know whether it existed so soon. You can make the argument that Ripples were also a very devious threat for this. Now, Ripples, I think, were very prominent, and that's why they were banned. But the problem that Regalia was Bushiroad refused to ban it. So you can blame Bushi or you can blame the card. But the card exists because of Bushi, and Bushi didn't ban it either. So,
bad time.
It was a rough time. I mean, I remember one time, and this is probably a funny memory for me, terrible memory. We were filming matches for the channel, and it was Ryan, myself, and Nate. And by the end of the night, Ryan and Nate were fuming with rage. Just like the salt, because nothing they did, they were like, okay, what if I go first? Okay, what if I skip grade 1? Doesn't matter, I get pummeled by his grade 2s. What if I skip grade 2? Doesn't matter, I get pummeled by his grade 2s again. What if I do get to stride? I still get pummeled by his Regalia. Like, I still lose.
Vanguard was introduced dangerously. Also, at the exact same time, Royals got the ability to call grade 1s. had rules only been left to calling grade 2s like they had prior to that time, I don't know if it would have been a big issue. You couldn't have built a board early. You probably couldn't have kept the board as we killed your grade 1s. But no, things like freaking Sword Me and Venon just turned that deck into such a consistent monster that Regalia had nowhere to go but up.
That's true. Because you can make the argument that if the Sword Me ban had hit, Venon hadn't existed, Regalia would have been dead. It would have been severely broken.
Yeah.
The deck wouldn't have seen.
There would have been answers.
It would have been dead up until the reprominence of blasters, when Lou gave it a new engine to work with. And even then, you can make the argument because some people still run Venon in that build. So
I mean, you also would have had the argument like, would anyone have thought to go back to Vanguard? Because remember, when Vanguard first came out, it wasn't that big. People were just kind of experimenting with Sanctuary Guard? Like, what's this nonsense? Until we figured it out.
Yeah,
so another
that's very
argument
true.
could be, we might not have thought of it.
it's true. That deck, of course, that's not the only mistake. I mean, I think another one that people would want us to comment on is Seven Seas Rush, which I think decks like that only exist because we started asking ourselves a question of how can we get around
The mechanic
itself. But in the end, we saw a rebound. G came back, did it not, and everything was great.
For maybe a year. Okay.
Yeah, the last year was so much fun. Everyone just got ramped up to 10. Every clan that got support got good support. I mean, I played in the last ARG in Charlotte. I played against a Murakumo player, and I was scared. Do you know how long it's been since I played against Murakumo and been scared? The answer to that question is never. I've never played against Murakumo and been scared. This man had outs to Link Joker. When's the last time Link Joker had outs to... When's the last time Murakumo had an out to Link Joker? Spoiler, Murakumo's never had an out to Link Joker before this. So... it was a great time, but it has come to an end, and I think we've given it a fond farewell. What do you think?
I'm ready for standard. That's all I'm saying.
I'm ready for standard. It's time to go back to Royals and play some Alfred. I'm hyped. But until then, stick around because Team Absolution is going to be bringing you more videos talking about this rampant change coming in Vanguard. Biggest change to come to our game, well, ever. So we'll see you next time here with Team Absolution. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. This is Nate. Jose, signing off. Peace.